Tax season is upon us once again, so what can we do to make the most out of things? Joining me now in studio is Nathan Giesbrecht, a senior financial advisor based out of Red Deer with Investors Group. Welcome back to Bridge City News.
Thank you.
So Nathan, it's tax season. Some of the new tax rules are out. What should we really be aware of, especially federally?
Yeah, so there's been some new rules come out this past year. Some of the bigger ones are some new income tax brackets. So the steps are a little smaller now. As your income goes up, they're going to tax you a little bit more going forward. So that's one big one. Something else that I think is a benefit is a few years ago they implemented inflationary increases. So meaning you might have heard of cases where a client had earning a certain amount of income, got a pay raise, and now bumped into another tax bracket.
Right.
And so
like all this money coming off my check now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, right?
And it was just due to a slight pay increase. Well, now every year the government is saying, hey, we want to eliminate those inflationary increases and moving you into another tax bracket. So that's actually a very positive thing that won't impact you the same way.
So who's really going to benefit from the new rules then? Families, individuals, how about seniors?
Yeah, there's some new credits that are out there. Families are they've lost some family credits, but lower income families definitely won with some of these new tax laws. And so you know, families earning less than $50,000 a year will definitely see some added tax benefits in relief.
It's RSP season as well. Time to load up, right? Stock up on RSPs. When is the deadline?
The deadline is the same as every year. It's 60 days after the new calendar year rolls in. So March 1st this year will be the big deadline.
How much can we actually contribute? Like,
yeah,
what's the maximum amount?
26,000 and change is the amount you can contribute, and it's essentially based on your annual earnings. So if you are an individual that's earning $100,000 a year, let's say, in income, you're allowed to do 18,000 or 18% of earned income. So you'd need to be making, you know, north of about $150,000 a year before you're getting into those maximums.
Some companies actually offer, I guess, what's called free money, where you can maybe donate or take off 3% of your check each month, and the company will match it 100%.
Yeah.
So that's a really good opportunity. But some people I talk to, they say, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put money into RSPs. But I said, but the company's going to match it. You get some free cash here.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I am like you. I think you should take free advantage of this opportunity, whether it be 1% matching, 2%, 6%, whatever the maximum is. I think you want to take full advantage of it. Now, the challenge that some people have is, in order to get the free money, you have to put in your half. And so you need to budget your cash flow every month to do that. But out of sight, out of mind is kind of my thoughts. So if you can have it come right off your paycheck, you'll forget that you're even doing it, and ultimately you're getting matching. So it is a great opportunity. You
know, that's almost like when you know, you pay a mortgage, the principal, interest, and tax.
Right.
You know, have the bank collect the tax. You don't have to worry about it. Get stuck with this big bill at the end of June.
Yes.
That you owe $3,500 or $4,000 in tax, whatever it is.
Yes.
And it's a big shock to the system, right?
Right. Yeah. And so this is a very similar kind of approach, with the exception of now they're adding money to your account. I think it's also important that you know where the money is going. So you know, the institution that you're working with will give you options, so you can pick and choose from one of a number of different options. I would really suggest, based on your age and your risk tolerance, you want to be looking at, you know, moving money into equities. So what do I mean here by this? So the Bank of Canada has consistently tried to keep inflation at or near 2%. Mm-hmm. So to create wealth, or wealth creation, your money needs to be growing north of 2%. So if you're putting all your money into a T-bill account that's earning you 0.5%, you're not creating any wealth. You're actually, you know, losing capital or losing purchasing power due to inflation. So you want to think about, okay, am I under the age of 50 and I have time to handle a little bit of risk in the marketplace? Look at adding equities to your portfolio. You know, if you're within 5 years of retirement, you may want to have more fixed income in that portfolio, but definitely take a look at the options that are available to you.
So what do you say to a client then, Nathan, who's maybe north of 50, maybe 52, 53 years old, and they say to themselves, it's too late for me to start saving up. Why would I put money into an RSP? I'm going to play the real estate market, or I'll put my money in precious metals somewhere else.
Well, so the first thing is, I always say it's never too late. You could be 64, and I would say it's still never too late.
Oh.
Yeah, because an RSP is still one of the greatest tax advantages that the average Canadian has to them. So adding money to an RSP creates an instant tax deduction for you, the client. There's income tax that now you don't have to pay both federally and provincially by purchasing an RSP, and then it allows you to put money aside for a rainy day or retirement, if you will. In terms of what kind of commodity you want to own, whether it be real estate or gold or precious metals or whatever it is, I think you really want to make sure that you have what's known as a diversified portfolio. So you want to make sure that not all of your money is in one commodity.
Like real estate.
Like real estate, and so there was a time in the real estate world where you couldn't go wrong. You could purchase anything and it went up in value. But today we're seeing, a normal market cycle where economies go up and down, and real estate is a commodity that can go down in value. And so imagine having all of your eggs in that real estate basket and you're about to retire. You might not be happy right now. The other thing that I ask clients to consider is, how do you convert that commodity, whatever it is, into income or to cash? So for example, if you have all your eggs in gold right now, gold is a commodity.
Golden egg.
There you go.
Yeah.
And gold, it doesn't pay you income. It doesn't have a yield. It doesn't provide you a monthly income. You're buying a brick of gold and you hope it goes up in value.
Right.
So again, you need to look at cash flow, you need to look at liquidity, you need to understand the different risks involved when it comes to purchasing these different commodities, and then find the one that's right for you.
How about commercial real estate? What are your thoughts on that?
Again, commercial real estate can be an incredible investment. On the other hand, there's some risks involved. For example, a lot of clients, when they're looking at residential real estate versus commercial real estate, they might assume they're the same. But how are they valued? And typically, commercial real estate, if you're buying a big commercial building, the new owner, the purchaser of this property, is going to be looking at earnings or profit. So how much profit can I generate from this $10 million investment? And if I can't generate a lot of income or profit, it's worth less. Whereas the real estate world that maybe most Canadians are familiar with is, they're buying a residential home, they hope to put a renter in there, and that value of that home goes up and down with the rest of the real estate, residential real estate market. So they're priced very differently, and they provide income very differently. So again, it's something that you need to understand if you're getting into that world.
Where should Southern Albertans, or even Canadians, a lot of our viewers watching from coast to coast to coast, invest their money right now? What's really hot?
Yeah.
Is it real estate? Is it artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, green energy? What are your thoughts?
Well, so if you're an average Canadian that really just doesn't understand the investment world and don't know where to put your money, the first thing I would recommend is sit down with a professional.
A broker.
Yeah, sit down
Right.
with a broker, an advisor, a professional that can help you with this, in all of this world. Find out if they have any credentials, how much experience do they have. Find out a bit about their company, what's their product shelf, and then ultimately what they want to do is they want to get a snapshot of, what do you look like today financially. So let's take a look at your cash flow. Let's look at your assets, your liabilities. Do you have any sort of income and asset protection? Do you have benefits at work? These are all the things that they're going to want to look at. So that's where you are today. Then from there, the most important thing, in my opinion, is, where are you trying to go? What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? When do you want to retire? How much income do you want at retirement? What kind of risks are you willing to take? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then their job is to actually build you programs to get you there.
That portfolio, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every portfolio is unique, and it should be unique. And often I would say, look, if you're a very hands-off investor, get a professional to help you. I'm the type of person that likes to think I could build a house, but I probably couldn't, So I'm going to hire a professional to do that for me, because I don't even know the pitfalls that I could be jumping into trying to do it on my own. And I think when it comes to the world of money, often people think, well, I can do this on my own, but often, I'd say, are you investing your money with your heart or your head? Do you have a lot of emotional connection to this money? And of course we do.
I'm glad you asked me that, because some people are considering investing in medicinal marijuana.
Sure.
It's very hot right now, a hot commodity, but other people, spiritually, or they have a struggle with that, being associated with cannabis at all, even canna oil or whatever.
Sure.
So what do you say to somebody like that? You say, it's very hot right now, that's just where you want to put your money, but spiritually in your heart, it's like, I'm struggling with this, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's a great point. I go back to you know, where has this plant come from? Man didn't make this.
Right.
It came from God's earth. It's an organic plant that we've just found a way to do different things with it. And so at the end of the day, you know, research is showing us that medicinal marijuana or earnings or profits in the marijuana world are actually more likely to come from the medicinal side than the recreational side. And they feel that that world is significantly untapped right now because of the stigmas with marijuana. And quite honestly, you know, if I have friends and relatives that are medical professionals, and they're saying, well, what would you rather put in your body? Something that's organic or something that's, you know, induced with a lot of chemicals?
Like an opioid, right?
Yeah, or some of the drugs that, you know, we take to deal with pain or to deal with some of the challenges. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't comment on which is better for you, but what I'm saying with the marijuana world, it's actually much bigger on the medicinal side than it is on the recreational
But you can
side.
understand that spiritual dilemma, right?
100%.
How about doing your own taxes? Should you hire a professional, or you should just go on QuickBooks or, you know, H&R Block, just go online and, hey, do it for free, right, and get it done. And besides, the CRA is going to, you know, make any changes, any flubs that you may have along the way anyway, right?
Yeah, I think
they'll correct it.
Yeah, I think for the most part, you know, if you're what I would call a slip return client, so meaning you work for one employer, you get a T4 at the end of the year, you contribute, you know, $2,000 a year to your RSP, and that's pretty much it.
You just sum me up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
That's pretty easy, isn't it?
You could probably do it yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, you can hire. You know, there are firms out there that'll do it for $50 to $75, and you're done. It's pretty simple. On the other hand, to your point, you know, if you do make a mistake, yeah, the government will probably let you know. But if there are monies owed to the government, they will charge you penalties and interest. So you want to be careful if you don't know what you're doing and don't want to, you know, dive into that world. It might be best to hire some of these tax preparation firms to assist you with that. If you're a client that owns a corporation or a client that has some more complicated matters, maybe a sole proprietorship, I would strongly encourage you to hire a professional to give you a hand with that as well.
The Alberta economy has been struggling since 2008, right? And the Canadian economy is slowly coming out of a recession as well, but it's not booming like in the United States right now. A lot of people are saying the smart money is to invest in the United States. What are you hearing?
Well, so a couple things. 2008, we saw a market correction. It was significant. It was one of the greatest we've ever seen. But people may not remember, but in 2008, oil was actually doing pretty good. So Alberta was somewhat isolated from that recessionary times. Yes, the market was off, but our local economy in Alberta was doing decent. As time went on, things started to cool, and yes, it really hit us in 2015, like we haven't seen in a generation. And so, and what happened in the U.S. was several years of buildup with the previous administration, essentially repairing some of the 08, 07 damage, and the new government had come in, and one of the strategies that they'd implemented from their platform was they said, we will reduce taxes, and that money will be, you know, put back into the economy, and that's exactly what they did. Corporate taxation was reduced significantly.
Like small business, right?
Small and large.
Right.
Small and large. So when you're a major corporation that had to pay $100 million, $200 million, $1 billion in income tax, and now that's been shaved by several hundred million, that money stays in your local economy. In fact, that money goes to growth because now major corporations are saying, let's reinvest in our company and let's grow even more. And so that's essentially what we're seeing. We saw a significant lift in the U.S. because of tax reductions. And there's other reasons too, but tax reduction was a huge part of that. And so now the question is, well, are you getting in too late? And so I go back to that original comment that I made, which is we can never control what governments in different countries will do and when they will do it. But what we do know is not necessarily we're not investing in the U.S. government or the European government or the Canadian government for that matter, but we're investing in companies in those countries that ultimately will benefit from moves that governments are making.
Brexit may play a role as well, right?
100%.
Especially if you're investing in companies in either in the EU or in Great Britain, right?
Correct. So as a professional money manager, what they're looking at is saying, okay, if Brexit is for or against, who are the winners and who are maybe the losers. And so they're already looking, you know, long term into the future. Where is the smart money going? And so again, I go back to that original question. If you're not a client that wants to pick and choose your own investments, or maybe you've tried that in the past, it just wasn't for you for whatever reason, the bulk of Canadians' wealth, are in pensions or managed portfolios. And ultimately, you know, if you're plunking along at 6, 8, 10% a year, you're probably doing pretty good with not taking on the same levels of risk. And again, it becomes a risk-reward issue. And ultimately, if clients can earn 7, 8% with half the risk of the marketplace, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good, definitely.
Yeah.
Nathan Giesbrecht, Senior Financial Advisor with Investors Group from Red Deer. Thanks a lot for joining me in studio today.
Thank you.